All right, Dirty Sports 7:53. We are live in 5, 4, 3. Welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast. I am your host, Andy Ruther, coming to you live from Cincinnati, Ohio, with my co-host from Los Angeles, California, Joey No Chill Praino.
Hello, Andy.
Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday. Thirsty Thursday.
Now, is that a thing for Instagram models, or was that just always solely a beer thing?
I don't know.
I think they should do Thirsty Thursdays.
I can almost guarantee you, if you put hashtag Thirst Trap Thursday into Instagram, you will get a chick doing that random pose where their ass is facing the camera and they're looking behind them. They're like, oh, is there something over there? It's like, yeah, everybody else would turn around. What are you, an owl?
Didn't Robert Latoff from Black Sports Online claim that he created the phrase thirst trap?
I would believe that was a claim. I think he said that. That's a claim.
I think he said that on our show because now everybody uses it.
Yeah.
I saw Lolo Jones, the former track and field turned bobsledder, self-proclaimed virgin, do a post where she just said, I'm thirst trapping. I guess she's about to turn 40, like in her last days in her 30s.
Okay.
Still looking good, by the way.
Okay.
Debatable if she's a virgin. I've always said that.
Okay.
It's a good claim to have, I think. But
I'm not sure in your late 30s claiming virginity is a good claim, but
like that was her thing, right? She was attractive. Right. Yeah, she's 39. That was it. That's what it is. She was like near the end. But anyway, I thought of him when I saw that. I was like, okay, this is Robert's thing. Thirst trap. We're all doing it. But enough of that. We got a big show today.
Big show today, Andy.
I'm excited. There's a lot
to the gills. You called it juicy before the show.
I did call it juicy.
Thirsty Thursday. This show is a thirst trap. It's extra juicy.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot going on in the sports world. And last night, as I was watching Hard Knocks, I was reminded how much I enjoy that show. And I was also reminded how much NFL players make me laugh, Joe Praino. And I'll start with Ezekiel Elliott. Watching a YouTube video, how to wrap a gift, made me laugh out loud.
Oh, how about him giving up on watching the YouTube video and then just using like an insane amount of wrapping paper? I felt like in the middle of watching that, I was like, is knowing how to wrap something white privilege? Like, what's happening? Like, why has this guy never wrapped a present? Is it like one of those things where like, yeah, man, you're growing up poor. We just like give you your gift. We don't have money to spend on like extra paper.
Well, he said he had never wrapped a gift, which again, blinking guy meme when he said that.
Yeah.
And for the record, I'm terrible at wrapping gifts. Awful. I am notoriously bad in my family. I get roasted every single Christmas or holiday by especially my nephews and nieces. So I'm bad. But I have never once thought of watching a YouTube video on how to properly wrap a gift. I just know I'm bad at it and I don't really try. Now, his final product looked pretty good, I'll say. And I also am calling bullshit that he did that final product.
Right. They didn't show us him finish.
Because it looked pretty good when he gave it to Dak.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but that was the first thing.
This is the first conspiracy theory from the new Hard Knocks. Did he wrap the gift? This is where you're at.
I'm just saying.
I have so many things I want to talk about from Hard Knocks, and Ezekiel Elliott's rapping wasn't even on my list.
Well, it was on mine because I was to the point I rewound it, and I was looking pretty closely, and I said, wait a second. Because I've done the Zeke thing where you're missing stuff and you just extra wrap it. I've done that. it doesn't look like how his looked. So I think somebody got involved from HBO. That's my first hot take. Now, is it the most controversial take? No, but that's where I'm
Starting
going.
us off with an easy one.
We'll start off easy. We can move to some other things that you want to talk about.
I mean, what did you think of Hard Knocks Cowboys just in general? Like, do you like the selection? Are you enjoying Cowboys?
I thought it wasn't the most exciting episode.
You would think Cowboys, obviously America's team, and like Oxnard, obviously they don't do it in Texas every year. They're up here outside of LA. I thought it had like potential. And then just as the show started, I'm like, oh, right. Jerry Jones and Mike McCarthy are basically first of all, our GM and owner. And then Mike McCarthy. I mean, the press conference where Jerry Jones is having some Alzheimer's rambling moment. He's like talking about championships and the Cowboys, and he just starts crying. There's nowhere I'd rather be here with this team at camp. And then Mike McCarthy just wearing some ladies' sunglasses, watching Jerry Jones do that. And you can't figure out if he's about to cry or if he's like, oh man, why is he talking so much? Listen, everything I've said about the Cowboys as a Giants fan in certainly the last couple of years, but definitely last year, not changed by seeing Mike McCarthy actually talk. Like Mike McCarthy, I've been calling him a boob on the show for basically the entirety of the run of the Dirty Sports podcast. Nothing in Hard Knocks says he's not a boob. He literally has a Austin Powers segment of training camp.
Well, I agree.
Like, here's what's going to happen. When you hear the Austin Powers theme song, everybody's going to break down into a 60s style twist. And then from that, for the next 3 plays, we're in mojo mode. Yeah, baby.
I thought about you, of course, since you have been calling him a boob. And I agree. That was the recurring thought through my head through the episode was, wow. Not only was Praino right about him being a boob, I don't think, and it sounds like you're agreeing, I don't think we all realize the degree of how big of a boob. He is just such a dork.
Yeah.
And the Austin Powers thing to me was cringeworthy. I want to go back to Jerry Jones real quick. I felt, and I wrote this down, he just looks so old. And this isn't like a diss. This is what it is. Like during that
old, but he also he acts old, like decrepit.
That's what I'm saying.
He's honestly, the McGriddle thing was just blowing my mind. They had to blur out the McGriddle because
not
I don't
sponsor.
know. Yeah. But also, you are a billionaire with a B. You have the most, and you're getting McGriddles delivered to your office on a fucking plate, and then your assistant's also bringing you some extra salt. I think one McGriddle has like 600% of your daily sodium. This dude's adding salt to it. Like, bro, do you have COVID? Like, why can you not taste the McGriddle?
Yeah, my takeaway, if I'm a Cowboys fan, I thought about this too. In the opening minutes of the episode, if I'm watching that, Joe, I'm thinking, oh my God, this old man who's, again, not only does he look old, like he's 78. And I was thinking, when my dad died, he was 77. So it's basically the same age. I'm thinking like, my old man had it together so much better. At least I think he did. Maybe I'm being biased because it's my own father, but not just visually, but mentally. And I'm thinking, if I'm a Cowboys fan, this guy is my hands-on owner, president, and general manager. There is no way, mark my words right now, there is no way, not a chance in hell, the Cowboys sniff the Super Bowl as long as he's calling the shots.
What's amazing too is, Hard Knocks, obviously they love to build the drama. The voiceover is always, one of, if not the best part of the show. they go early on, they go 3 Lombardi trophies during Jerry Jones's reign. And it's like, what, the first fucking 5 years of his reign when Jimmy Johnson and the Jimmy Johnson post, season 1 year post Jimmy Johnson run. I mean, then they add like, but they haven't won in 30 years. And it's like, well, what the fuck are we talking about? Why are we even mentioning the trophies?
It's 20. So he's 78. It was 26 years ago. So last time they won, he was 52. He was a functioning human being.
And then, I mean, just everything like McCarthy, the Austin Powers thing. Oh my God. It's like 20-year-old comedies. You're the most guys on the field were 3 when that movie came out. He's like, tomorrow we're going to do the blue steel portion of practice. You guys have all seen that great Ben Stiller, Owen Wilson movie, right? You know what I'm talking about? They're like, we have no fucking idea. He's like, don't worry, I have a clip.
He's such a dork.
The Giants are getting like shredded online because like Joe Judge is like yelling at his players. I'm not the biggest like hard-nosed fucking angry coach guy, especially at the professional level. But I would take a coach having guys run laps over a guy who's breaking down into the mojo portion of the practice by playing the Austin Powers theme song.
Yeah, I agree.
It's got like, we talked about with the Bucs a couple years ago, but like the Jameis Winston cringeness, like there's a lot of cringiness.
Oh yeah,
on this Cowboys team.
Oh yeah, I totally agree. And I think in the NFL, I think sometimes the disciplinarians work. We've seen it work well. Or you have a master schemer, right? You have a guy who's so prepared and bringing out such different looks, like a Bill Belichick type of guy.
And that's what I've said. People
what is McCarthy? What is McCarthy?
Right. People have been calling out the Giants, and I'm like, I don't love angry, motivational, fucking hard-nosed coach guy. But also, is there a single player on the Giants? Is there a single one? I don't know. Blake Martinez, maybe. It's like, is there a single guy who has earned the right not to get yelled at? It's not like it's a super veteran team. Meanwhile, you're the Cowboys. You've got guys who people believe are elite players in the league for 5-6 years now. And you're fucking showing them Austin Powers clips.
Yeah. And I'll take it one step further. It's not just Mike McCarthy. My takeaway as a fan or, whatever you want to say, a guy who watches a lot of football and who's watched Hard Knocks for, I don't know how many years, 15 years. My takeaway is there's not a coach on that staff, at least that they showed, that instills any sort of motivation.
Well, I'll say the only exception I have is Dan Quinn. I thought Dan Quinn came off as, a regular old football guy. And I think that's the one thing. I didn't know Dan Quinn was hired to be their defensive coordinator. That's the one thing that scares me as a Giants fan. I'm like, oh.
But why? But my knock would be Dan Quinn. My knock would be this. Dan Quinn was known for his defense in Seattle.
Yeah.
He goes to Atlanta as the head coach.
Yeah.
What was their number one problem the last how many years he coached?
Well, I mean, I think that's
defense.
I think therein lies like why he inspires, me thinking that maybe their defense will be improved, because I think being a head coach is just above certain guys' level of competence. And also, you're not the defensive play caller when you're the head coach,
Well, a lot of Belichick is, a lot of them are.
Right. I'm saying smartly, if you can handle doing both, then you are, you know what I mean? But I mean, Dan Quinn obviously lost something in being the head coach, but look at a guy like Spagnuolo. Spagnuolo was a disaster as a head coach. He was a disaster, in his interim moments as a head coach with the Giants. Everywhere he's been as a defensive coordinator, he's been great. Like, that's where I think Dan Quinn, and also I'm not even judging necessarily Dan Quinn on his resume. I'm judging him on how he seemed on the show as compared to, he's just like cursing out guys and be like, let's fucking go run around and fucking hit some people.
Yeah.
As opposed to Mike McCarthy, who's like, are we going to hit some people? Yeah, baby. You're like, what the fuck are you doing? And why are you wearing ladies' sunglasses?
And Kellen Moore is the same way. That guy's your offensive coordinator?
Yeah.
Guys, we're not reinventing the wheel. Let's go out there and make some plays in the second half.
Guys, we scored 3 points. I don't know if you know anything about the mathematics of football, but 3 is not a lot.
And then they got the guy from England.
Which guy from England?
I rewound that and then I looked him up.
I don't even know who.
The D-line coach is from England.
Oh, right.
And the accent made me laugh and threw me off.
And what about fucking, was it John Fossil? Jim Fossil's son? Like, we're doing a fucking PowerPoint about your fucking dick surgery?
Yeah.
Also, you know what doesn't show, you know what doesn't instill confidence in me about Coach Fossil? He got his fucking, what's the phrase I'm looking for? What's his surgery? He got his
vasectomy.
He got his vasectomy reversed.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, talk about a lack of commitment, bro. Why'd you get a vasectomy in the first place? What kind of guy gets a vasectomy and then gets it reversed?
Well, I guess it does happen. People say, hey, maybe I do want to have another kid.
Well, then fucking don't get a vasectomy. My point is, I know it happens, but I would say that those guys have, poor decision-making skills. So now you have had 2 surgeries on your nutsack to get back to where you started with your nutsack?
Yeah, baby. Yeah. Cut those balls, baby. Yeah.
Mike McCarthy's like in the tunnel. He's like, guys, why run out on the field when we can take the elevator? You're like, you fucking dork.
Oh, he's such a dork. So I looked up.
Love it as a Giants fan.
So I looked up again. I've been very critical of the Cowboys just because my take at this point with sports ownership, especially a team like the Cowboys, I've always said when you have the owner who's also the GM, especially at his age, it's not good. Then you look up their front office. I didn't know I knew there was nepotism within the Jones family. If you go to the Cowboys website, listen to their front office. So we know Jerry Jones, owner, president, general manager. These are the executives. The COO, the executive vice president, the director of player personnel. The second most important position is his son, Stephen Jones.
Mm-hmm.
His daughter, Charlotte Jones, executive vice president, chief brand officer. Okay, whatever. That's not really football related. The third one, the executive vice president, chief of sales and marketing officer. Again, not football related, but still is his son, Jerry Jones Jr. So for those who don't know, the entire Jones family, Jerry Jones and 3 of his kids.
The head cheerleading coach now, January Jones of Mad Men fame. I don't know if you've heard they're trading CD Lamb. I mean, up and coming, probably star wide receiver for Julio Jones. That's, you hate to see that. It's like, why would you go get an old veteran?
Yeah.
You have a young receiver.
So the whole, my point is the
Zeke
whole family
will be splitting carries with Maurice Jones-Drew.
I've heard Andrew Jones,
head of scouting, Chipper Jones.
Yeah.
Baseball guy. Why? Jones.
So I think people are understanding our point that the whole organization, every single important executive spot is run by Jerry Jones. That is not a good sign because here's why. Who is the no man? Who's telling billionaire daddy, I don't know if that's a good move. Now, if you're Mark Cuban, I'm just using him as another Dallas example, and you hire different pieces around you who aren't.
Listen, what like Mark Cuban as an example. How about just every sports team ever as an example? Like, when has it ever worked?
It's a great point. When has it ever worked where the whole executive team is related?
He's the fucking GM, dude.
He didn't know how to eat a McGriddle, and you expect him to make talent level decisions. Now, nothing against what he did in the past. Obviously, he was a stud. I didn't realize this. I went on his Wikipedia. I didn't realize he was a stud player in college football. He won a national title.
Yeah.
with Jimmy Johnson on that
Right.
Arkansas team. Look, like he had the pedigree, the experience as a player, which obviously translated when he bought the team in 89, they won a title within 4 years. The turnaround that the Cowboys did, we've never really seen in NFL history. They went from 1-15 to winning a title 4 years later. It's amazing. But again, that was almost 30 years ago.
And I mean, we've all seen the document. Like, if you don't know about that, like Jimmy Johnson came in, gutted the team, stockpiled draft picks, drafted all the 3 Hall of Famers on the offensive side of the ball, drafted a ton of guys on the defense side, like rebuilt the team. It was Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah.
The idea that he hasn't been there as like a fucking consultant through the years. But he's smart. You know, the game passes you by. It's something like he was in, he was out. He came back for his stint with the Dolphins. He's out. He's like, fuck it, I'll stay on TV.
Yeah. I mean, that would, to me, that would terrify me if I'm a Cowboys fan watching Jerry Jones give some weird speech where he's crying and he's emotional. He doesn't know where he's at. And then he's eating a McGriddle with an entire container of Morton salt. I don't know what was going on there.
Here's the thing. I said basically the exact same thing from the opposite side. I'm like, it fills me with joy to watch this as a Giants fan. But if there's one thing we know for sure, right? I mean, where do you rank them in all of sports? Delusional fan base. Cowboys fan base and they're top 5.
Top 3, maybe number 1.
Like every year, this is it. We're the Super Bowl. Like, if you're a Cowboys fan, you definitely are watching this and love it, right?
How?
You're like, fucking Mojo Monday. Let's get a fucking Austin Powers inspired merch.
So their over under is 9.5 wins for this season. One episode.
Is that the highest in this division?
Let me see. One episode, I'm taking the under. I just think.
I mean, how about the fact that Dak Prescott is like hurt right now?
Well, he had another MRI.
Yeah.
So in that division, correct. That is the highest. Washington.
We might need to get a Tug Coker appearance on the show during the course of Hard Knocks to get
I agree.
His take, because
I was thinking of that.
Tug is a pretty reasonable fan, but he definitely has a little bit of Cowboys delusion to him. Like, you can't escape it entirely.
Look, business-wise, Jerry Jones has made all the right decisions. No one's going to disagree with that. What he's done with the Cowboys, even as they continue.
We can get Tug on to talk, Cowboys football, Schroeder to the Celtics, the state of the Detroit Tigers, Virginia basketball / Michigan basketball /
Oklahoma basketball too.
Oklahoma.
Yeah, man, they are. To me, they're not an intimidating team, even if they do win the division. It's not good. Although it brought me back. So they stay. I don't know if they still do, because when I did that Ventura marathon with my mom, that half marathon, that's where they stay, at the Marriott that we stayed at, actually. So like, I recognize.
It seemed like they were all staying like on that campus right there or whatever it is.
But that's what it is. Like, I stayed there. I think it's the same one. So they're like, the rooms are at that Marriott are like, how would you describe it? They're like almost like we had a 2-story,
like a condo.
Yeah. And I'm sure it's got to be the same spot they're staying. So I recognized it for sure. But again, right now I'm betting the under. I said they win 9 games. I said they go 9-8.
Now, I like Dak, but when I watch, I like Dak as a player, but when I watch this, it also gives me a ton of excitement that Dak is essentially one of those guys, much like my team's quarterback, Daniel Jones. It's like, obviously Dak proved a lot in winning games, in compiling stats, but was hurt last year bad when that new contract was demanded. And like, it seemed like the perfect out for the Cowboys to get him to play on a, franchise deal or get him to take a thing, a small contract anyway. He's, getting half a bill or whatever the fuck it is, $395 million for him. It's like some insane number. And what's he actually done? Like, to me, it's like,
it's actually not as much as you think. It's 4 year, $160 million.
Okay.
It's a lot of money.
4 years, $160 million. Okay. It's $40 million is a lot still,
sure.
but not for as long as I had remembered. Still, it's hard to build a team when you're paying one guy $40 million.
Yeah. And I like Dak too. And I've liked him as a player, but it is true. Once you get that injury bug, especially early in your career, most guys don't shake it. Because now he's having injuries. He has a shoulder injury, which is completely unrelated.
Yeah. Now, Andy, speaking of NFL training camps, and also since we just mentioned Tug, man of many teams, I went and saw I'm going to let you correct me. Are they your squad? I mean, you are a Chargers season ticket holder.
I am.
So are you now Chargers first and foremost?
Sure.
And then is your second team you're also an LA team? Like, are you still a Rams supporter, or have you now moved your support? Seemed like an easy move of support, especially since maybe your favorite team is also in the Rams division in the Seahawks.
No, I'll be rooting for the Rams because I like Sean McVay.
Okay.
Obviously, I want to see Stafford do well.
I went to Rams camp, and I'll keep it pretty short, but I think you'll like this. Not super exciting, got there kind of late, watched them run a scrimmage, looked fun, looked interesting, hard to tell. They're not really hitting each other that hard, whatever. But anyway, there's this yo fool that is like in the stands with us going crazy. So there's like a little barrier, that separates you from the field. And they were like telling us, hey, you guys can't be up against the barrier. You have to be 5 feet back from the barrier. We need it in case, like, I don't know. It was like, I don't know. They kept saying in case of emergency, but it seemed like it was like a COVID restriction or whatever. So this yo fool is screaming at players, yo, 46, yo, 46, hit somebody, bro. Yo, 22. The whole, like, he doesn't know any single player's name. He's just yelling numbers.
And they can't hit.
You guys see Aaron Donald out there? I'm like, he's not out there today. He's like, oh, I didn't think so. I was like, okay, this guy's wasted.
Dude, he's 99. Everybody knows that.
Wasted. He keeps talking about his wife, and I finally look in the stands. His wife and his 2 kids are just like in the stand, like embarrassed for him. This guy is screaming on the sideline. The whole sideline is watching this dude. This guy's like, he's crazy. He keeps telling the security guy who keeps moving him back from the barrier, he's like, I'm going to jump on the field and tackle one of them. And the guy's like, yeah, don't do that. He's like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to jump on the field. So at one point, he high fives me for no reason. Then he hands my girlfriend his like free giveaway Rams car flags. He was like, hold these. I'm going to jump on the field. And she was like, I don't want to hold them. And also, I don't think you should do that. So then he walks up into the stands, gives his wife his flags. And his 2 sons were just sitting there. Like, this is literally a sober wife and kids just watching their drunk dad yell at players on the sideline. And I have video of this, and I can post it on Dirty Sports. But finally, after 5 mocking jumps, he jumps the fucking barrier.
That's what I was going to ask.
Immediately falls. Almost immediately after falling over the barrier, a fucking security guard gets on him. He gets away.
You got to post it. You have this?
Yes. It's insane. He gets away. He fucking runs on the field. He's like committed to tackling a player. He doesn't get halfway to the players. He falls again. He gets tackled by a bunch of dudes. And then on the way out, he's like beating his chest. He's so excited. He just thinks it's like the greatest thing of all time that he fell over a barrier, started running, fell over on the field, got dragged out by security. And all I could think of was like, and I asked the security guard, I was like, are you guys going to arrest him or is he just getting kicked out? And they're like, yeah, he's probably just getting kicked out and he'll never be allowed back again. And I was like really happy about that because the thought that this guy was going to have like a $600-700 fine, it made me sad for him. I was like, he shouldn't have done that. His wife looks like so sad and embarrassed. His poor kids have to see their drunk dad run out on the field. I'll post it. It's bananas.
That was Tuesday?
That was Tuesday.
Are they in Orange County for camp? Where are they for camp?
Yeah,
I forget.
UC Irvine.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So he announced that he was going to jump out there
like 10 times. He announced it to the security guard. He's like, I'm going to jump over. And the guy's like, yeah, don't do that.
Yo, fool.
When he went, the crowd went wild. Because
that's hilarious.
People were watching him for like an hour, 2 hours, just yelling at players. They're like, this guy's crazy.
That's nuts. I've never actually seen someone do it who says they're going to do that.
He like fake did it a couple times just to see the security guard's reaction. And in my head, I was just like, bro, don't do it. You don't need this fine. Like, fucking take your kids to lunch.
Yeah, but hold on. In your head, my head would be saying, but also me would be saying, I want to see this train wreck.
I kind of wanted to see it too, but I just felt really like, if he was solo, I would have been like, bro, go, you fucking pussy. His wife and his kids were in the stands, just like embarrassed that their dad was like drunk on the sideline.
Well, luckily,
it just had terrible family vibes.
Well, we both have his number. Let's send Jesus a text, tell him we're thinking of him.
Yeah.
He needs to get it under control a little better. And that, he does have a family to think about.
Yo, fool.
Dude, who wins more games, the Rams or the Cowboys?
The Rams. No doubt about it, yeah. I think.
They play first week.
I know. It's exciting.
Or no. Do they play first week? Am I wrong? No, I'm sorry. The Cowboys play the Chargers the second week.
Okay.
I knew the Cowboys were in LA. One thing I'll say about the Cowboys.
Tug's been nudging you for those tickets. You gonna hook Tug up with Cowboys Chargers tickets?
I gotta call them. They're currently listed on StubHub. I'll be honest, like, it's gonna be a tough sell, Tug. I love you, but like, the value is about 3 times what they're going for. It's a tough one to give up.
Well, I think, Tug was talking to me about it when we were golfing. He was like, I hit up Ruther about his tickets. He's like, I'll buy them from him. And he was like, I'll even like split. He's like, guy won't call me back. He's like, I'm gonna have to buy tickets off of fucking StubHub. And Ruther's putting his tickets on StubHub. I was like, I don't know, dude.
Well, my argument is this.
I was like, I know for one thing for sure. Andy's hooking me up with some Giants fucking at Chargers tickets if I need them.
Whoa. Everybody's coming to me. Everybody, dude, my thing is this. I want to see if I can actually make money off the tickets this year.
Yeah.
And I hate to say it. The Cowboys game, again, full disclosure, my tickets are only $80 a seat.
Right.
In that area, I've done my homework on this. In that area, they're listed at $300 to $350 a pop. So by me, again, I love Tug and people can call me whatever they want, but hey, Jared Jones, businessman, Andy Ruth are trying to be a businessman. If I can sell those.
Oh man, this conversation is going to have more salt than a Jerry Jones McGriddle when we're done.
But let's, after StubHub takes out 15%, if I can make $500 on one game, I don't know. I'm just saying, I'll talk to Tug. I don't know, Tug. Maybe throw me a little equity in your restaurant. We'll work out something. I did notice one last thing about the Cowboys, and then we'll move on.
He should give you a part on his TV show. Oh, wait, he already did, Andy.
Yeah, he did do that.
Take out your $200 day rate.
True. That's true.
I'm just kidding. I'm playing both sides here. Don't fucking sell him the Tug. Make some money, dude.
I'll figure it out.
It's an investment for you.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to rile everybody up, which will lead to Tug giving me an angry phone call.
How about I'll call Tug this weekend.
Stay out of this.
How about a consolation prize? You and Tug take my Chargers 49ers next week, preseason tickets.
I mean, are they sell like will the preseason tickets sell?
No,
Do you even have those? Do you have those listed on StubHub?
I do have those listed, but I don't really care about those.
Yeah. Dude, I will take preseason tickets from you.
Do you want them for real? Do you want them?
I mean, when are they for? Next weekend?
Next Saturday.
The only problem is I'm going to the fucking Mets game that day. Mets at Dodgers.
Okay.
So I can't take them, but offer them to Doug. But there's two preseason SoFi games, right?
There's one.
One?
Yeah.
Weird. Why?
Because they have 2 away games. Oh, because they play the Rams is one of them, and that's a Rams home game. And then they have another one away.
Interesting.
So there's just one. But there's 9 home games for the Chargers. So I have 9 sets of tickets.
But don't they usually play 4 preseason games?
No, I think it's down to 3.
Wow. Great. That's great news.
Yeah, it's down to 3. That's what they said on Hard Knocks, that the Steelers and Cowboys get an extra one since they played that early Thursday.
Got it.
Yeah. Well, what I was going to say a minute ago was, I was talking about Jerry Jones being a good businessman. He again, not the best GM, not the best guy grading player personnel and the team decisions, but he's a great businessman. And I know this because he has had a deal with Miller Lite for a few years. And you see Miller Lite, I don't know if you saw it at their training camp. So he knows the right beer to choose.
I did not notice that. That makes me, low key as much as I don't want to root for the Cowboys like a little bit.
Yeah.
But
look,
that's great. I mean, America's team. It should have America's finest Pilsner.
Yeah. And look, it makes sense because Miller Lite has been the light beer with great taste since 1975. And that feels like 1975, the last year maybe that the Cowboys were relevant, right, Joe?
Right,
It almost feels like that. So Dirtballs football season is upon us. You know that. We're talking football. It's exciting. So next time you're going to enjoy some cold ones with your crew, make it Miller Lite and go to MillerLite.com/dirty sports to find delivery options near you. Or you can pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere they sell beer. It's Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces. And I want to say, I love seeing all the great tweets you guys send while you're drinking a Miller Lite, especially with the Dirty Sports koozies. So if you're tailgating, if you're golfing, you're having a barbecue, whatever it is, keep tweeting at us and at Miller Lite when you are kicking back a few.
Yeah, I love it. I love seeing folks at baseball games, and now, with football upon us, can't wait for all you guys drinking your Miller Lights at football games. I love it when you share your outdoor Miller Lite drinkings with me.
Well, this is a quick, easy segue of just something I saw that I thought was kind of fun.
Great.
Because we're talking drinking beers, NFL. So it was released this week. Again, it was just done through a poll, but who knows how accurate it is, but it seems accurate to me. NFL fans who drink the most beers during games. Of the 32 teams, who do you think is number one?
Packers?
It's a team that's not good, so it makes sense to me.
Not good. The Bears.
They're up there. Number 4. According to this, the team that drinks the most beer is 5.2 a game.
Jets.
Cincinnati Bengals.
Wow.
And
That's
Miller
impressive.
Lite,
Good for you guys.
Yeah, and Miller Lite is strong here. So I know that's the main beer down at the stadium. So lots of Miller Lights are being consumed.
That's great.
So
give me the top 5.
So top
Are they
5.
all terrible teams?
They're not all terrible, but they're not so. But most of these are not surprising to me. Bengals number 1, Ravens number 2, Bills number 3. Like, to me, that's accurate.
Yeah.
Bears number 4, Panthers number 5. That surprised me. Broncos number 6, Chargers 7, Browns 8, Rams 9, Lions 10.
Wow.
So to me, it's a mixture of like bad teams where the fans are just going to drink because they know the teams are bad.
Yeah.
And also good teams or kind of fun fan bases that have.
I also think that you know, I was surprising that the Chargers and Rams are on the list, but
that Yo Fool to me is what I'm thinking when I see them
right,
on the list.
100%. But also, you know, what I was thinking, like when you say Carolina or Cincinnati or whoever, is like those are areas where I imagine that a Miller Lite, you know, the Bengals game isn't $41.
Well, that's a great point because also in this is what they did average spent. So the Bengals are one of the lowest amount at 5.2 beers. The average spent is 43.08 on that.
Right.
So it's one of the lowest as far as price per beer. And you're right. Where other places where exactly similarly, the Chargers at 4.4 beers. So about a full beer less is going to be 60.93.
Yeah. So who's on the top of that list?
As far as average spent?
Yeah.
Let me see. They don't do it in that way, but
that's fine. I don't care. We can move.
No, the top is actually the Chargers.
Yeah. So
and then,
good for Chargers fans.
Chargers and Rams are the top because probably, of course, price. The least drinking, this doesn't surprise me either. The fans who drink the least are, according to this, the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah. I believe that 100%.
Right? So that was kind of an interesting thing that I saw.
Well, the day I drank a fucking 30 pack in the parking lot of Candlestick, I tried to up it for them, but I guess that also wasn't accounted for in the beers that they sold.
Yeah. I'm excited for this baseball game tonight.
Oh yeah. The Field of Dreams game.
Yeah.
It is exciting.
Yankees, White Sox, 7:00. I think it's 7:00 Eastern time tonight in Iowa. It's not the actual Field of Dreams field. Did you know that?
I didn't know that. I thought it was.
I think it's the one next to it.
Really?
They made a mock one. I'm pretty sure.
Wow. I mean, I saw that it looked like they had added, you know, a batter's eye and scoreboard and whatever, but I thought they had done that on the Field of Dreams.
No, I think it's not the actual.
That's crazy. What the fuck are we doing it for then?
Hold on. Am I wrong here? I thought I read that.
Somebody go to the YouTube comments.
I'm looking it up now.
It seems crazy.
Yeah, no, I'm correct. The game between the Yankees and White Sox happens Thursday near the field from the famous 1990 movie.
That's stupid. I mean, it's cornfield, so I'm sure they can just make one that looks fucking similar. But like, I need that house in the background. I need what the fuck are we talking about here?
Yeah, I'm seeing an aerial view of what they built. They basically built it next to it. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So now I'm seeing the aerial view. So the one from the movie and the house in the background, which would be the house would kind of be first base side.
Yeah.
This one is
right behind the fucking bleachers where the girl falls off eating her hot dog.
Yeah. So this one, Joe,
and Moonlight Graham's got to come fucking save her.
So now there's a cornfield separating from the outfield of the original, and the cornfield goes for I don't know how many acres, and then there's the one they built next to it,
which I'm sure has been built for a while, right? Like I'm sure they do like baseball tournaments there and shit like that. But
well, I guess I'm looking at it. I don't know if they could have done it on the original because the original field is just surrounded by corn. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that's the whole fucking point.
But they wouldn't have been able to have fans, is what I'm saying.
But down the first and the third baselines, right? And also, I don't give a fuck if there's fans.
Yeah, so there's 8,000.
We'll check it out.
Yeah, I'll still watch it. There's 8,000 tickets. The average ticket price
White Sox.
Average ticket price was $1,400.
Wow.
Imagine if I had bought those at $80.
Where did these ball players come from?
So, yeah, I'll watch it tonight. They're wearing the throwback jerseys.
Somebody's got to wink at the pitcher, right?
I think I assume you got to have Costner or Ray Liotta thrown out the opening pitch, right?
Yeah, you got it. I think I saw Costner was there.
Well, you texted me angrily last night about my Reds.
Oh, because your fucking bullpen.
It's worse.
I mean, the Mets have a big comeback win last night. Season's over still, but I'm still watching. Mets big comeback win last night. Dodgers beat the Nationals, so Mets were picking up a game on everybody. You
Reds
guys
come back from
2 runs in the 11th, and then you're fucking whoever the fuck that guy was. Why don't
Lucas
you turn
Sims.
around and throw it out of the ballpark yourself? Served up a fucking meatball.
Reds come back from 5-0, basically because of Votto. Gets 4 of those 5 runs back.
My fucking Italian grandmother pitching in the fucking 11th, just serving meatballs.
Well, this is related. I'll play a quick call about bullpen pitchers in the Major League Baseball.
What's going on, Dirty Sports? I'm sitting here listening to your guys' conversation about the Mets, specifically the inability of their bullpen to get it done. And I started thinking about how there's honestly a lot of teams in the MLB that seem to have the same issue, most notably, to me at least, the Blue Jays. So that kind of led me to a question: is a good bullpen pitcher the hardest, I guess, position, for lack of a better word, to fill in the MLB? And if we're going to expand that, what's kind of the hardest position to fill in sports, I guess? Is it like finding a 3-and-D player in the NBA? Is it finding a good, I don't know, slot receiver in the NFL? What do you guys think? Let me know.
But by the way, first of all, dude, I don't know how, like the Blue Jays, I got the stats right in front of me. Like we need to talk about the Reds. I mean, the Reds bullpen, this is what's crazy about the Reds. And I was texting you this. If the Reds just had a mediocre bullpen, I honestly think they'd have the best record in baseball. The Reds bullpen, if you look at ERA, they have the 4th worst ERA for their bullpen in all of baseball. But look at the other teams in the top 5. The Reds are the only team by far with a winning record. The worst is Arizona, then Colorado, then Baltimore, then Cincinnati, then Minnesota. The Reds bullpen has given up the most home runs and the most walks. So, like, the Reds bullpen is awful.
Yeah. I think to answer his question, the problem is the bullpen is a collection of dudes.
Sure.
Finding a good bullpen guy isn't difficult, but finding 4 of them is. So therein lies the problem. You know, like even a great bullpen can have a guy that you trust, a bad bullpen can have a guy that you trust who's lights out. But it's like, if you can't get to him, or if after him he's gone, like that's the problem with Major League bullpens these days. And I hate to say it, you know, my book will be out soon, you know, pitch counts, how they ruin baseball. But we now have to have that many more. You have to get through. You basically at this point have to have 4 guys that you can trust in a bullpen, because at least 2 of them are going to pitch a night. And then you can't typically pitch guys like multiple nights in a row, at least not multiple guys. A lot of teams have one guy that they trust to pitch a couple nights in a row. But like, we now have a point where we're taking out starting pitchers, whether they're pitching well or not, in the 5th and the 6th inning. Now you need a 6th inning guy, 7th inning guy, an 8th inning guy, and a 9th inning guy. I mean, the days of a pitcher going 7, a setup man, and a closer is like literally ancient history. Yeah. And it's because it's infuriating, because the lack of bullpen depth around the league is low, and yet managers fucking go to their bullpens earlier.
Well, the bullpen really is important. I was naming how bad the top 5 bullpens are, and that the Reds were the only team with a winning record. On the other side, the 3 teams with the best ERA are all really good teams. San Francisco, Tampa Bay, and San Diego have the 3 best bullpens.
Yeah.
And again, not a coincidence. Those are 3 teams with the best records in baseball. I agree with you, though. This micromanaging and not letting guys pitch. I don't know what, I don't know the psyche. I know it's a different psyche when you're a bullpen pitcher and you got to come in, you got to get, but to me that the tough part to watch as a fan is giving up the runs when you're ahead. Like, just don't fuck it up, man.
Right.
Like I'm watching that game, that game last night. I'm thinking, I think the word is demoralizing. If you come back when you're down 5-0, Joey Votto goes 4 for 5, four RBIs, 2 home runs. Like, if I'm Joey Votto and I'm those Reds batters and I'm thinking, oh my God, we came all the way back. We take the lead. And this guy gives up a 3-run bomb. I mean, Albie's jacked it out of the park. How do you then just put that out of your memory, or any of these teams, when your bullpen is so atrocious, and say, oh, we got to get him tomorrow? Like, to me, those are almost momentum changing times of the season that can really dictate how you play.
I know you're a big Reds guy. You're a Joey Votto stan. I'm a Joey Votto stan. I love Joey Votto. He's a great guy, great player, fantastic career. Love this resurgence. Percentage out of 100, though, that he started juicing at the fucking break. Like, what? 20%?
I mean, I'm seeing the things on social, on Twitter.
Seems like such a good guy. Seems like very out of character. But it's not 0, right?
No, I'm not gonna look. You know me, I'm a contrarian. I'm not gonna put anything at 0. No. Is there a chance? Yeah. I don't think he is. I also have bias, so I'm not the best person to ask because I am a stan.
Well, that's why I'm asking you.
I'm definitely not putting it at 0.
10%? 10% chance? 5% chance? Whatever you say, we're going to double it for everybody else's non-stan opinions, but
15 to 20%.
Ooh, spicy.
You know what that shows? That just shows where I'm at as far as trusting people in life. I obviously I love the guy.
Say it ain't so, Joey. Say it ain't so.
But I believe I've read.
It ain't so, Denty.
I've read so much on him, like too much. It's almost turned obsessive doing deep dives on this resurgence. I mean, this is like stuff I don't know if people realize, like what he's doing, we haven't seen really. I mean, we've seen it, but my point is, you don't do this at 37.
Yeah.
And his what he's saying is, I never really tried to hit home runs. I was always just trying to get on base, and numbers back it up. Joey Votto in his career has led on base percentage in baseball 7 times.
Yeah.
Which is about half his career. So half his career, he's led the entire majors in getting on base. And he said, that's what I was always trying to do. Now I'm just trying to hit bombs because I have so many guys around me that are getting on base. Castellanos and Winker and Jonathan India, who's top 5 in on base percentage. Like, you got all these guys who are getting on base around him, and he's just trying to knock them home. So I don't know. I hope not.
Right. Well, we all hope not.
I was trying to find the where Joey Bangs, Votto Still Bangs came from last night.
I don't even know what that is. Is that the thing?
You haven't seen it?
No.
Every time he hits a home run, they've been saying it goes back to an interview. That's been like the thing. Votto Still Bangs. And everybody's embraced it in the last year when he hits a bomb. Yeah. Well, if he could only pitch, Joe.
Right.
So that's where I'm at. And it's frustrating. As you know, sports will just break you emotionally. But yes, I think I've been broken enough that nothing surprised. Like my phone was blowing up last night from friends being like, are you serious? It's like, guys, what do you expect, man? Shitty bullpen. But
you just can't let him beat you with one fucking swing.
I know. To me, it's not even the ERA. To me, the two telling stats, the Reds have given up the most walks and home runs as a bullpen. Like those are the things you can't do. Like, if you're a bullpen pitcher, I don't care for what team, You can't come in and just walk guys and give up bombs.
Yeah. The
Those
walks are more telling too. Cause I mean, your ballpark is bomb city, but
sure.
But yeah, to be giving up more than the Rockies to be giving up, but walking guys, when your bullpen walks people, it's why I drink.
Bullpen walks.
Yeah. Bullpen walks.
Yeah.
That'll be the epilogue to how the pussies ruined baseball. Pitch counts. My problem with pitch counts.
Yeah. No, I understand, man. I want to do a quick last thing on the Olympics that I saw because it furthers a point you and I have been making as far as ratings. I think you and I agree right at this point that ratings for, again, I'm just saying for sports. I don't know for other things. I don't know how it works for entertainment award shows or sitcoms, whatever. But I think we've agreed, right, Joe? I feel like we've come to a good common agreement that we think the ratings are overblown. They're not calculated correctly enough because of the new age. People watch things. And we also have said, do ratings really matter if the ad revenue is coming in? We agree, right?
100%. Honestly, okay. I don't even want to go down the path of who you are if you don't agree with that at this point.
Well, I think obviously people, I'll just say, I think people who identify on the right or conservative want to keep pushing bad ratings.
Right.
So,
and picking and choosing where they push bad ratings.
Yeah.
Was the Olympics particularly woke this year? I didn't even see that.
So here's what's interesting. This is why I'm bringing this up. Again, Wall Street Journal is coming through to give me the actual stats, though, that we need to know. NBC draws its lowest summer Olympic ratings ever for Tokyo Olympics. But I like how it mentions this. TV viewership was down 42% from 2016. Yet the Olympics was extremely profitable. And that's what I'm trying to get. So I just want to say a few of these numbers. So the ratings were down. The ratings actually were down, again, 42% from the last Olympics. They were the lowest ever for NBC since they took over in 1988. Yet, again, a big yet, NBC Universal said ad sales exceeded those of the 2016 games, which brought in $1.2 billion in ad revenue.
I mean, it's ludicrous. Like, here's the thing. There was a time where if you missed it, you missed it. I watched full, the Olympics for me, the Summer Olympics for me are almost entirely swimming. That's what I care about. Basketball is a little bit in there. I'll check in on other sports. If it's on, I'll watch it. I watch race walking and volleyball and some track and field and some, fencing. Like, I watch the stuff when it's on. But for me, like what I tune in for, but there was a time where if I didn't tune in for it, I missed it. I watched full races on Twitter 3 minutes after they happened.
That's a good point too.
I watched a full, that's not even calculated in streaming ratings.
Well, that's a good point too. I never even thought of that. That's a whole other point. And I'm just like you. Certain races I missed, I watched on Twitter. So again, the ratings were the lowest they've ever been for NBC. Yet they're saying, and I believe them, they made more revenue than they've ever made, exceeding last Olympics was $1.2 billion just on ads. They're saying they crushed that. So when you see these narratives of, oh, the ratings are down for football, basketball, Olympics, whatever, it does not matter if they're still getting advertising revenue. It just doesn't. And also, another point I want to make, and I think I've said this before, we've never had the options of entertainment that we have now.
Right.
So the idea that you're going to compare ratings from even just 10 years ago, 5 years ago, with Hulu and HBO Max and Netflix and Amazon and Disney Plus, there's YouTube TV.
And that's not even counting in just the things that the things that we're watching, you can watch in ways that are not calculated by ratings. It's fucking stupid.
So there's so much more to watch as a viewer. This isn't the MASH season finale.
Right. The important thing is here. Listen, if you're anybody you're following, anybody that you're following, anybody who's takes you enjoy is talking about ratings at all or box office at all, just know that they are lying to you to make to for their own purpose, for whatever their purpose is. They're lying. They're bold-faced lying to you, or they're super dumb. They're either super dumb or more likely they're just straight up lying to you for their purposes. That's it. Oh, the Space Jam fucking bombed. It's like it's on HBO Max. Day one, guys. Oh, it didn't do fucking great at the box office? No shit. The Godfather 4 could come out tomorrow. It won't fucking crush at the box office because no one goes to the movies anymore.
Yeah. And I think like that's all that matters for these companies, for these.
The American movie going public taking a stand this week against Italians, probably because of Cuomo's sexual harassment, not going to see Godfather 4, which is streaming on your iPhone right now. I mean, imagine being that much of a dipshit dickhead.
So it's like that's how I judge things. Like, is the money still coming in? Oh, advertisers are still paying NBC to air the Olympics. So end of story. And no one discusses that. I don't know why. No one discusses if the money's still coming in. Who cares if 3 people watch it?
Right.
They're not facing a deficit. They're not losing money. Their net income is still billions of dollars. And that's always my takeaway on any of this stuff. And again, money aside, to compare viewership from something 10 years ago to now, I mean, we like Joe, I mean, I can go down a rabbit hole. We all can. I can go down a rabbit hole watching YouTube videos for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Where
I mean, just think about it for us from a comedian standpoint. Just think about us. If you come to a comedy show in Los Angeles right now, you will see somebody. They'll be like, this next guy's been on Conan. This next guy's been on Colbert. You'll be like, I have never heard of this person in my entire life. There was a time if Johnny Carson put you on his show, you were then famous for the rest of your life because every single person alive had choice of 3 channels. Then we went to cable. Now we're beyond cable. Now we have things that are just, you just watch them. They don't exist on television. Netflix is not on television. Hulu is not on television. Amazon is not on television. Every single thing that happens on Hulu, Netflix, Amazon, fucking, all of these streaming only platforms are never calculated in the old rating system at all.
Yeah. And like you said, we were watching swimming or track and field races, the whole thing in the 2-minute Twitter clip.
Yeah.
I don't need to watch it on my TV. I got my phone right here. Oh, cool. That was the race. I watched it. All right, let's wrap the show with some good NBA stuff.
Let's do it.
On this very juicy episode.
Juicy.
We had a couple signings. Luka. There was chatter about Luka.
Yeah.
He's staying a Mav. 5-year, $207 million max. Good for the Mavericks.
Good for Luka. Good for the Mavs.
Joe, he's 22 years old.
Good. Great. Love him. I love Luka.
Yeah, I do too. Fun player to watch.
Great player. And specifically, I like him, again, a guy who, like LeBron, who's one of my favorite players of all time, and obviously, in my opinion, the greatest of all time, a guy who can absolutely dominate games by himself, but a guy who makes his living, makes his career, makes everything by being a team first guy, being in terms of passing the ball, facilitating the offense. I love it. I love players like that. I love guys that are just absolute freaks who can take over, who facilitate their offenses.
Yeah. So they'll figure it out. I'm confident in mostly Mark Cuban that he's going to make sure the right guys get around Luka. Obviously, he's never won a playoff series, but again, just turned 22 in February.
Yeah.
He's young. We've seen he can take over playoffs by himself. And I think they'll put the pieces around him and make them a title contender team within the next 3 or 4 years. So that was the big news as far as the smart decisions. They re-signed Luka. I think it's good for Luka as well, like you said. Now, the biggest miss of the week, I'm still laughing about, is Dennis Schroeder.
Schroeder. I still don't understand it. I don't even understand it.
I don't either. So the Lakers offer him like an $84 million contract, $85 million contract. He doesn't take it, the max deal, thinking he's going to get something better on the market.
I mean, everybody's, obviously the same. We get the same shit. He doesn't want to play with LeBron.
I didn't really see that.
Oh, I saw it 1,000 times. But I just think that's bullshit. I just think he made listen, maybe that's part of, maybe he, maybe there's part of it where LeBron is a ball dominant player. And that's the big question mark of the Westbrook trade. How is that going to work with two guys who absolutely dominate the ball? And maybe Schroeder didn't like the fit, but the idea that you're going to leave that fit and lose $80 million. Like, I just don't believe that this was his strategy.
It's wild. So he signed a 1 year with the Celtics for $5.9 million. He left about, have we seen something like this? He left
no
80,
pretty horrible.
$80 million. He lost out on $80 million.
Yeah, it's bananas. Well, now you don't have to play with LeBron, bro, or whatever.
Oh, if I'm his agent. Let's say his agent gets 10%. His agent just went from making $8 million. I
think they get like closer to 5 if you're a sports agent, maybe even less than that. But still.
I'd drop him as my client.
But they must have advised him to do it, right? That's your agent. That's their job.
It's unbelievable.
I think we'll see if he fires them. What happened?
True. They had a field day on NBA/Black Twitter on that. That gave me some good chuckles. And not as many as this next story. Well, we got a few stories to give you chuckles. We'll end with the Jason Kidd thing. First, George Karl is just on fire.
I fucking love George Karl on Twitter. And I didn't know George Karl was on Twitter since 2012. Apparently he's found his voice on Twitter, because I literally just started following since the other day, where he quote tweeted an ESPN thing and took a shot at Melo. Then apparently people were telling him to kill himself, which I'm not surprised. Melo stands are, it's just remarkable that they exist.
Yeah.
Most of them are Knicks fans too. Most of them are Knicks fans. It's horrific. Nothing more. Probably the most embarrassing thing of all of my sports teams. I'm probably most embarrassed by the fact of how many Knicks fans are delusionally still Melo supporters. He was responsible for the worst season in franchise history, and the Knicks have been a debacle for 20 years.
So SportsCenter tweets out a quote from Carmelo saying on going to the Lakers to win a championship, "This is the one thing I'm missing. This is the one thing that keeps me up at night, that motivates me because I don't have it." George Karl quote tweets that and says, "And it kept our coaching staff up at night a decade ago when we were stressing the importance of team play and defense." Laughing emoji. Wow.
What's amazing is that like, it's amazing that garnered a negative response. I know that there's crazy Melo stands out there, but like, and let me just say this, and I would love to hear from you guys. Come at me on Twitter, call our hotline. How is it possible to be a fan of the NBA? You can argue many things about Carmelo's career, but you can't argue against him being a
team player,
ball dominant, force shot guy, which, by the way, Michael Jordan was that. So it doesn't necessarily make it bad. And a shitty defender, a careless defender, a guy who made no effort in his entire career, with the exception of like a fucking one series against Kobe on the defensive end. He has never given defensive effort. He's a defensive liability, and he's a guy who averages fucking 3 assists in his career.
So
he's not a willing passer. He's a terrible defender. You can argue, if you're a lunatic, that Carmelo Anthony's scoring and just offensive skill set make up for his deficiency as a passer and as a defender. What you cannot argue is that he tried to defend people or pass.
So his defenders would say, well, he won a title at Syracuse. Well, he won all those gold medals, which,
first of all, he won gold medal as the 7th guy on a fucking basketball team.
Yeah, I was going to say, now he did have the record for most points. We got to give him credit.
Cool.
Until Kevin Durant just broke that.
Because he was on teams. He was on a lot of the teams. He was a 3-time Olympian. Okay. There's also you know why Olympic Carmelo was good? Because Olympic Carmelo was on teams with so many great players, he couldn't possibly think he was the best. And he was a spot up shooter. It's insane. That's it. Carmelo's Olympic career should actually be something that we talk about for why his NBA career was bad, because he showed he could do it. He showed he could be a second or third option and just rain threes and be a catch and shoot guy when he's playing with LeBron, when he's playing with Kobe, when he's playing with KD, when he's playing with whatever. But when he's in the NBA, it doesn't matter who he's playing with. He has to be the first option. Carmelo Anthony is only in the league right now because fucking 2 seasons ago, he said, I will start being a catch and shoot guy. He should have done it 10 years ago. He should have been a willing passer.
Yeah. So George Karl takes all this criticism from the Twitter world, from the Melo stands, and then he quote tweets again 2 days ago. Somebody wrote basically what I just said in response to his tweet. Somebody wrote, Melo won a college championship as a freshman, won a gold medal, and is one of the greatest Olympic basketball players we've had. Will finish top 10 ever in scoring. Will be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Guess that's nothing though, huh? Karl responds with a quote tweet, which I love. I've said it before, one of the greatest scorers the game has ever seen. He's a Hall of Famer and his jersey should hang in Denver. But he adds, and he capitalizes, he wasn't a first team player or good defender here in Denver. And it upset us when he asked for a trade, especially after I was sick. And so it is.
And then, of course, the big one where he tweets that 100 people have told him to kill himself. And then somebody goes, why? And he replies, this is the best one by far. Somebody said, I think at least 100 people told me on here to die or rot in hell in the past 24 hours. Come on, folks. That's not kind or cool. Lighten up and celebrate life. What did you say? That Melo was a ball hog and shitty defender in Denver. That's it. That's it. That is the criticism on Melo's career, entirely as succinct as you make it. Ball hog, shitty defender.
Yeah, no one's denying his scoring ability. But the fact is,
where did it fucking get you?
I was just going to say, Melo didn't make guys around him better.
He He got one Western Conference Finals appearance with the Denver Nuggets. They lost. He goes to the Knicks. He guts the team. Runs the fucking coach out of town. Runs the GM out of town. Runs a guy out of town that's had 5 documentaries made about his fucking 10 games of basketball while Carmelo was on the bench. So you ran a player, a coach, and a GM out of town. You are responsible for the worst seasons in Knicks history. The worst seasons in Knicks history. You sucker punch Marty Collins. You go fucking all these other fucking places. And what happens? You get DFA'd by fucking Houston. You're out of basketball. Ball hog, shitty defender. That's Carmelo Anthony's motherfucking legacy.
Yeah.
And now he'll fucking steal a ring with LeBron probably. And we'll all talk about, and he's an NBA champ too. He's going to be a fucking nothing person on this team.
Well, it's funny you bring up NBA champion. I've pulled up the top 10.
He's going to be Kyle motherfucking Kuzma.
The top 10 scorers of all time. Right. It's Kareem, Karl Malone, LeBron, Kobe, Michael Jordan, Dirk, Wilt Chamberlain, Shaq, Moses Malone, and Carmelo. Something stands out to me. Does anything stand out to you when I name that list?
The guys who don't have rings?
Yeah. So the only that don't have rings are Malone and Carmelo. Now Malone has 2 MVPs. So I can make the argument I would make the argument to any Carmelo fan. I would say what George Karl's tweeting is true because he's not a team player. All these other guys made it work to a degree to win titles. They did.
Here's the
Melo
argument.
never did.
Here's the argument that I would fucking make too. Why are we arguing with George Karl? George Karl was his head coach. What the fuck are we talking about?
Well, they would respond if we're doing this. They'd say he's bitter.
That what? What is he bitter about?
I don't know.
He gets paired with Carmelo. You don't think he wants Carmelo to work? You don't think he wants Carmelo to be good? You don't think he wishes he won a championship with Melo? You don't think when he got to the Western Conference Finals with Melo, he thought he was close? His head coach, multiple head coaches, by the way, have criticized his fucking selfishness and his lack of defensive effort. Guys who have been coaches of the year. Mike D'Antoni and George Karl have legit borderline Hall of Fame coaching careers. We're questioning his opinion because why? It's insanity. You're a fucking loser if you defend Carmelo Anthony at this point. Kill yourself.
Well, on a lighter note, can we talk a little Jason Kidd for a minute to end the show? There's a couple Jason Kidd things that came out. One, well, first of all, these are all coming out. There's a new book about Giannis, and I've referenced it.
Right.
And I'm actually excited to buy the book because not even for the Giannis stuff. For the stories about Jason Kidd.
Right.
And we just talked about the Mavs and signing Luka, and I'm saying I trust Mark Cuban, but this almost makes you worry, like, dude, was Jason Kidd the best hire? So Giannis, the improbable rise of an NBA MVP, actually, it is available as of 2 days ago. So the stories coming out in this book are really funny about Jason Kidd when he coached the Bucks and Giannis. And this was my favorite one. Apparently, Jason Kidd, he's got a little Andy Ruther in him, kind of similar. He was obsessed with water parks.
Right.
And according to this excerpt from the book, Let me read this. Is this is Zeller? Is that Cody Zeller? What's Zeller's first name?
Yeah.
So Cody Zeller, this is from the book. He says, it's not that I don't enjoy water parks, Zeller says, but when someone is screaming at you to be his human inner tube for every ride in the park, you start to wonder what this has to do with basketball. And then this one is my favorite. Another player who wishes to remain anonymous reported that kid had an unhealthy obsession with water parks and would eat lunch at Pelican Cove Water Park 4 days a week. What is happening?
What do they even have it? But what do you like? Their menu's got to be fucking corn dogs and shit, right?
Yeah, basic stuff like slice of pizza, corn dogs, hamburger. Oh, it gets even funnier. I mean, I would argue this is one of the wildest things I've ever heard. We all thought it was because of the single moms, but I think he really just likes water parks, guard Chris Middleton says. One time in a game against Chicago, we were down 2 with a minute left, and he calls a timeout. He starts drawing. Again, this is from Chris Middleton. He starts drawing on the whiteboard, and we all think he's going to give us an inbounds play. But he turns the whiteboard around and says, wouldn't this be a great water slide? I can't make this up.
Here's the thing. Jason Kidd is rich. Why doesn't he fucking start a water park?
Yeah. So
can we have Jason Kidd's like splash from the corner or something like that? Like,
so Kidd draws this up and he says, wouldn't this be a great water slide?
Well, I need Jason Kidd's release, rotation, splash down water park.
So Kidd goes on and he says, my friends in New York all laughed at me when I showed it to them, but I made some tweaks to the exit so you land in a hot tub instead of a pool, which makes it so much awesomer.
Oh, so Jason Kidd doesn't even understand physics. What are we talking about? You're going to land in a small hot tub?
Brandon Jennings looked at me and back at Kidd and said, Coach, it's just a bunch of squiggly lines. We can't really tell what's going on. And then Coach started crying, but said it was just sweat, even though we all knew he was definitely crying. Dude, this is like a South Park sketch.
Bro.
So you're telling me, let me just go back on this. You're telling me in the middle of a game, they're down 2, under a minute to go. They think he's drawing up a play, and Jason Kidd is showing the Bucks players his generic blueprints on a whiteboard of his water park slide. And he cried when Brandon Jennings was like, what? Can
you imagine being the head coach of a basketball team, having Brandon Jennings on your roster, and then you being the guy people think are crazy?
That's a good point. I mean, that's my favorite one. But this one also is pretty wild. Now, we went over how he was a disciplinarian. So there's this other story that came out from the book.
There was one off season where he was hanging out with Ron Artest and Lamar Odom and OJ Simpson. And they were like, Coach, you're crazy.
So here's another good Jason Kidd story. Jason Kidd has become my favorite player of all time, maybe coach. Like this dude is a lunatic. Here's another good one. The Bucks were struggling, dropping a game to Charlotte on December 23rd, right before Christmas. Players returned to the locker room dejected, silent. Everyone was ready for the next 2 days off with their families. Zaza's and Zaza Pachulia. Zaza, Kidd said, turning to Pachulia, but addressing the group. Do you think this was a winnable game? Yes, it was a winnable game, Pachulia said. And do you think we deserve the next 2 days off? Pachulia couldn't believe Kidd had put him in that situation, threatening to ruin Christmas. Pachulia tried to strike a diplomatic tone. You know what, Coach? I understand the frustration. We're all frustrated because this was a game we were supposed to win. We didn't give enough effort. But at the same time, this is a holiday. Christmas is important to our families. It's not about us. It's about our families. Guys have made plans. Kidd then turned to Jared Dudley, What do you think? Should we take off the next 2 days? Dudley, too, gave a diplomatic answer, but Kidd wasn't satisfied. See you guys tomorrow at 9 a.m. Whoa, 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 players said. What do you mean? We're going to have practice tomorrow? We booked flights to different places. I don't care. You guys get paid to do a job, so you're doing your job tomorrow. Things change. Practice was ugly the next morning. Kidd went at Sanders. I don't forget who this is on the team. Called him a piece of shit, a terrible player. The team ran and ran and ran and ran like a college team would.
While Jason Kidd fucking applied sunscreen and ate a fucking corn dog.
So this is what's crazy about Jason Kidd. On one hand, you have the childlike, I love amusement parks. And on the other hand, he's like, hey, I know you got plans to go visit your families during Christmas, but fuck that. You're running sprints tomorrow.
Do you want my hot take?
Yeah.
It's not really that hot of a take because I think there's a lot of evidence to this through the years, from what Jason Kidd looks like to what Jason Kids look like to how he acts seemingly like all over the place. Jason Kidd's an alien. I think Jason Kidd is an alien and does not know how to act like a human being. I mean, great. It almost seems like he had eyes in the back of his head when he played. Maybe he does have eyes in the back of his head. Maybe he is literally some sort of reptilian creature from another planet. That's why he doesn't know how to act like a human being, but physically, athletically, a masterpiece. Jason Kidd's an alien. Hey. Isn't this some shit like if you watch a movie, like a comedy about an alien coming to Earth, like isn't him being obsessed with fucking water parks? Like totally legit? Like Napoleon and fucking Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure?
How is this just now coming out? He
came to Earth when he was in college.
He was going to amusement parks. Water parks to eat lunch.
That's what I'm saying, because he's an alien.
Even me, a coaster bro. The guy went to Kings Island twice in the last 6 days. Crushed it on Tuesday, by the way. Rode Orion twice. Sub story, but it's very, very enthralling. I'll tell you what.
We don't have time for it today. We don't have time for an Orion review today.
I know.
Put it in the Reddit.
I know. Really loved it, by the way. I'll just say this, and I know we got to get moving. The amusement park stuff, because I want to kind of focus on that, the water park stuff, is one of the craziest things. That timeout story is one of the wildest things I've ever heard.
I think I think the fact that he's eating at a water park, enjoying water parks, thinking about water parks, and how he looks, how he played, and how he acts in human contact with other people. I think Jason Kidd is an alien. This is my theory. I believe it. I believe Jason Kidd is not from planet Earth. He may have been here a while. He's getting acclimated. I need Jason Kidd Cal stories. I need a story. I feel like it's out there. Jason Kidd's college roommate. He would hard boil 3 dozen eggs at the beginning of the week and then eat them with the shells on. He just cool hand Luke unshelled hard-boiled eggs. And then be like, oh, Jason Kidd's fucking definitely an alien.
So to kind of wrap things up, we just talked about how great the Luka signing is for Luka and for the Mavs. The NBA, let's not just say Mavs, the kind of the NBA guy now. Obviously, Giannis is up there, but the next generational guy is Luka.
Yeah.
Is in the hands of Jason Kidd.
Yep.
An alien.
Yeah. Terrible.
Things.
How long is Jason Kidd the head coach of the Mavs? I say 2 seasons.
I was just about to say 2 years. And then he's going to open Kids Water Park. I mean, it's like I already got the name, Kids Water Park with 2 Ds. Yeah. Well, if you guys have any Jason Kidd stories, or if you know anybody
wet kids, We're going to Wet Kids.
Please give us a call. 310-359-8365 is the hotline. If you want some koozies, drop a podcast review. Leave your Instagram or Twitter handle in that review, please. And I will contact you and send out 2 koozies. Follow us on the Twitter and Instagram at The Dirty Sports.
Follow me at Joe Praino on all social media except for Twitter at Fix Your Life. Send me all your photos of you drinking Miller Lite and wonderful outdoor places. And go to joepraino.com for shows. I got a show tonight in Santa Monica, show next week at the Great West Side Comedy Theater in Santa Monica, New Orleans in October. Come on, come see a show. All right, that's it. That's all I got.
Perfect. All right, guys, that's our show. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great weekend. We'll be back soon. And as always, stay dirty.